So this guy was a garbage collector, and per what he actually did in this particular case, some would argue that maybe he should have actually been added to the garbage he was collecting. But let's get into it, and you begin to understand why I would say such a thing. Today's case is having to do with the pregnant mistress murder, and it will shock you to your core. So, the whole case is with regards to a man, Jose Soto-Escalera. Now, Jose Soto-Escalera was a garbage collector in the United States of America. Obviously, he has an immigrant background, and he settled in the United States. He's making ends meet, trying to build a life, which is very honorable. And he has a family, he's married. But in the course of going through life, he decides that he's going to take a mistress in addition to his wife, obviously in secret. So this relationship was ongoing. The relationship was ongoing, hiding it from his wife, playing that double thing, cheating and all. And, if you've researched or if you followed research on such things, you know that it is a type of lifestyle which in itself breeds its own vices and consequences. One of such is the high tendency of leaking money or leaking finances. Not to talk of the additional headaches like having to perfect or at least try to perfect the art of lying and keeping secrets and tracking those lies so you could add on more lies if questions came up on the previous lies you told. It's such a draining thing. Honestly, I wonder why people get into it. But that is what Jose Escalera was actually subscribing to. And he was doing this with a lady called Tania Wise. Now, Tania Wise was Jose Escalera's mistress, more like his girlfriend he's cheating on his wife with. And they were with each other for quite some time, up until Tania got pregnant. Now, when Tania got pregnant, everything turned around because the last thing that Jose Soto-Escalera would want to happen is for his wife to first of all find out that he's actually been cheating on her, and then even find out that that has also led to a pregnancy which is leading to the birth of a child. It will definitely break his home and break his marriage. But at this point, I ask myself, what were you thinking was going to happen when you started cheating in the first place? Because that in itself was you signing the warrant for your marriage or your family to be broken. And given the fact that it has other things it could lead to, like an unplanned pregnancy, you should know better. And Jose Escalera is a full-grown man. You would expect he would have thought things through. But as always, the people engaging in certain nasty things usually think they are smarter than the usual outcome that lies ahead of them, and that they will beat it. So when this pregnancy issue came up, Jose Escalera then told Tania Wise that he thinks they should get rid of the baby. I should put it that way. They should just get rid of the pregnancy. And Tania Wise also did not agree. She decided she was going to keep the baby. And you would understand why. Obviously, she's the one carrying the baby, and there's this bond that builds between mothers and babies. So you would understand why she would want to keep it, even if the father didn't want it. Not to talk of the fact that it also puts her at risk if she decides to avail herself to the chance of terminating the pregnancy. So it's something that had to do more with her consenting. And because Jose Escalera in himself was already desperate to save himself from shame and his family from breaking up, he was so bent on getting her to get rid of the baby that when she refused to go along with his suggestion, it escalated to him interpreting it as her signing her death warrant. And I just don't get it. Because that decision by Tania Wise became the motive for what would follow suit next. Because it would turn out that they would find the remains of Tania Wise and her 8.5-month baby still in her. Now, when investigators found this, they were wondering, who would do this to an 8.5-month pregnant woman? It just doesn't make sense. It's not just a woman who has been unalived, but she's been unalived while she's 8.5 months pregnant. So it's like a double homicide, the mother and the child yet to be born. Investigations ensued. And the police and security agencies will always do a thorough work. In the course of the investigations, they found out that Jose Soto-Escalera was having Tania Wise as his mistress, and this pregnancy had come up. He had suggested she should get rid of it. She had refused, and Escalera was actually caught in evidence discussing unaliving her and actually getting rid of her remains. He was actually convicted and sentenced to life. But I kept asking myself, let's play the whole thing around and tell me in the comment section if you can make sense of this crime. So, Jose Soto-Escalera, a husband, father in himself, has his own family going about his work. Then you go for a side chick, a mistress, gets her pregnant, and then you now want to terminate the pregnancy you yourself helped create. And when she refused, you unalive her and the 8.5-month-old pregnancy just so you keep your family, the same family you were originally with, but decided you still needed to get a mistress. Please go to the comment section and help me make sense of this, because it's like he had the option to just avoid the whole thing, and he decided he would go in for it. And when the fruits of what he went to do came up, he was ready to end 2 innocent lives just to save face and avoid shame and move on with his life. I think it's one of the biggest cowardly things any person can do, not just a man, any person. This is not about somebody offending somebody. It's not about somebody cheating somebody. It's not about somebody attacking somebody and in self-defense there's a death. This is about a man deciding that I'm going to cheat on my wife with a mistress. And then the mistress gets pregnant and the man says, terminate the pregnancy. The mistress says no. It drags. The man eliminates her together with the pregnancy, which is, mind you, 8.5 months old. Cold world, right? He's doing his life sentence as at now, and just keep an eye out. Sometimes people do certain things. I was discussing with someone and the person was like, yes, but Tania Wise knew Soto was a husband. He was married, so she shouldn't have given in to him. It makes sense. Someone will say victim blaming. That is another context. But ideally, she should have actually known that a married man coming to her to be her mistress, to be his mistress, sorry, in itself was testimony of the bad character of the man. This is not to blame her, but just to highlight the fact that don't get yourself into certain things, because those things in themselves come with their own nasty consequences, which you are better off staying away from. But sometimes it's easier said than done. I respect it. Let's keep our head up. Catch you on the next one.